Why do we have the weeks of Advent and the Feast of Christmas? Well, because God works in time. God's plans and promises unfold in time. But as we know, we get tired waiting. And like the servants in the parable, we fall asleep. But God wakes us up through feasts and seasons. The 4 weeks of Advent and the days of Christmas and Epiphany waken us to God's presence, and so we welcome them. The feasts and seasons bring us Jesus Christ, God's only Son, truly divine, truly human. He came to save our world and will come again to judge the living and the dead, and his kingdom will have no end. So let's look at the 4 weeks of Advent. They bring key messengers announcing his coming. There's the prophet Isaiah, John the Baptist, and Mary of Nazareth. Isaiah is the first voice we hear on the first Sunday of Advent. He brings a message of hope. God is our Father, the prophet says. Why do we wander off as if we had no Father, like withered leaves driven by the wind? Lord, turn to us. Let us see your face, and we shall be saved. Mark's Gospel reminds us we're in charge of a house, but it's not ours. We have to watch over a world. So don't fall asleep where you live, in your house, your family, your work, your situation in life. That's where God comes to us, where we're now. We wait for God here. Comfort. Give comfort to my people, God says to Isaiah on the second Sunday of Advent. And so the prophet says to those in the wilderness, to us, there's a way open for you over rough ground and high mountains. Your God is here. Like a shepherd, he feeds his flock and gathers the lambs in his arms. John the Baptist speaks from the wilderness. He's the voice of God promised by Isaiah, urging pilgrims like us to make the journey, cleansed and strengthened by the living waters that God provides. On the third Sunday of Advent, the message grows louder. Rejoice in the Lord. Again I say, rejoice, the Lord is near. The Spirit of the Lord who rested on Jesus comes upon us, Isaiah says, bringing glad tidings to the poor and healing the brokenhearted. Like John the Baptist, we witness the light who comes into the world. We're to point him out as the one who can go unrecognized, Jesus Christ. The fourth Sunday of Advent brings us to Nazareth, where Mary put herself at the service of God's plan. By the message of an angel and the power of the Holy Spirit, she was with child, a son, Emmanuel, God with us. Like David, we prepare a place for God to dwell. We prepare a place for God to dwell among us. He comes to us too. Pour forth, we beseech you, O Lord, your grace into our hearts, that we, to whom the incarnation of Christ your Son was made known by the message of an angel, may by his passion and cross be brought to the glory of his resurrection. On Christmas, Isaiah speaks again. The people who walked in darkness have seen a great light. Upon those who dwell in the land of gloom, a light has shone. A child is born to us. A son is given, the Prince of Peace. The shepherds, the poorest of people, are told the good news by angels, and they go to adore the child in the poor cave in Bethlehem. The Christmas feast is followed by the Feast of the Epiphany. Matthew's Gospel tells us of wise men, led by a star, who enter humbly the place where Jesus rests in Mary's arms. They're the first of many people to come to welcome him. The words of Isaiah are fulfilled. Rise up in splendor, Jerusalem. The glory of the Lord shines upon you. Nations shall walk by your light, kings by your shining radiance. Raise your eyes and look about. They all gather and come to you. Your sons come from afar, your daughters in the arms of their nurses. The Christmas season ends with the baptism of Jesus. Going into the Jordan River, Jesus makes all the waters of the world holy, and by his blessing he joins those baptized in water to himself and shares his life with them. He makes us children of God.